It is fair to say that both teams have had their share of cloudy moments this season. The Mets and the Phillies have battled on a nightly basis with the smallest of margins for victory. Last night it was the visitors who found the long path to the plate and a way to the series opening win. Following last night's victory, the Mets fans are feeling pretty good about themselves. They venture into Citizens Bank Park for a second consecutive day where the Phillies fans, well, they're selling the place out today on a gorgeous afternoon for baseball, and they're looking to even up this series at a win apiece. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Last night, the Phillies jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but then the offense, and this has been the case a lot this year, just basically shut it down. They had opportunities, but they just couldn't push any more runs across the plate. And then, of course, Cole Hamels gave back that 3-run lead.
3 runs early, Tom, and that's happened a lot this year where they'll score early in a ball game and then not be able to do anything. Some other things jumping out. Hey, at least they had base runners last night, but still stranded 10 of them. 0 for 9 against the Mets bullpen. The Mets bullpen very hot and effective at this point in the season. 40 games this season scoring 3 runs or less. And Charlie Manuel always sits down with the media after a ball game, and last night you could see the frustration come through.
Is the lineup going to be fine?
Hey, Howard, if I knew that, I would fix it. Stop thinking about that. Is the rest of the lineup going to be fine?
Yeah, the point is,
hey, do I know if the rest of the lineup is going to be fine? If I knew that, don't you think I'd do something about it? Does anybody else know that, Howard? Do you know it? Okay. I don't think so. I know you don't know it, matter of fact. Okay. Hey, who does know it?
Okay, but the point is there anything left to do if the rest of the lineup...
I don't know what I can do, Howard. Okay. If we don't hit and score runs, I don't know what we can do. I don't know what nobody else can do about it, and I know you can't do a thing about it. So, what else you want to know?
Well, obviously he's cooled off a lot this morning. He wishes he had handled a little bit differently, but it's over with and it's time to move on.
Well, he has to turn the page. So do the Phillies. They have the same lineup except for John Mayberry out in right field today for Delman Young, and they have to deal with a very hot pitcher in Dylan G.
Boy, is he ever hot. This is a guy the Phillies have really handled, Tom, throughout the years, and this year especially they've really hit him. In this ballpark, they've had tremendous success against him. Hit 3 home runs off him in a game earlier this year. There's one by Michael Young. Then John Mayberry hits his high fastball down the line, hits it right off the pole, and the Phillies had a big game. Ryan Howard has killed Dylan G throughout the years. That's a long one that he hit off him up at Citi Field in New York. But this guy has really turned the page right now. You see the way he started out really struggling in the month of April. May also not so hot, but here in the month of June, he's one of the hottest pitchers in Major League Baseball. He had a complete game shutout with 1 out in the 9th inning in Atlanta the other night before Freddie Freeman got him for a 2-run walk-off. So they're going to have their hands full with Dylan G today.
All right, we'll see what this lineup can do this afternoon. As we said, it's a sellout here at Citizens Bank Park. Jonathan Pettibone getting himself ready, just stretching out in the outfield before he heads into the bullpen. As we said, it's a gorgeous day here. It's probably a gorgeous day down at the beach as well. The Phillies and the New York Mets, the lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. We are creating a more coordinated healthcare system that is built around you. Independence Blue Cross, changing the game. Three-game series between the Phillies and the New York Mets. Jonathan Pettibone is warming up out on the mound for the Phillies. In fact, he's just finished up. Let's take a look at the Mets starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Eric Young starts at center field. Then Jordany Valdespin bats second at second. David Wright hits third, followed by Marlon Byrd and Daniel Murphy. John Buck does the catching. Kirk Neuenhuis is in left field. He'll hit seventh. Omar Quintanilla eighth, and Dylan G on the mound. He'll bat ninth, and they'll face Phillies right-hander Jonathan Pettibone, who's off to a 3-3 start to his big league career.
Had a real good game against these guys earlier this year, one of his first starts, but he is winless in his last 6 starts, including getting thumped pretty well at Coors Field over the weekend.
Well, Eric Young, who played a big part in last night's victory for the New York Mets, leads it off here at the top of the first. Young just acquired from the Colorado Rockies, where he was designated for assignment. And the first pitch taken outside. You look at Pettibone's numbers.
Yeah, 3-3 overall. In his first 5 starts, he was 3-0 and has struggled since.
At the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Fastball, changeup, breaking ball. There's a scouting report on him, and that's what he's done in the last 3 starts, and really got hit hard in that game at Colorado when he gave up quite a few runs. 6 earned runs in that game.
Eric Young overall hitting .243 with a home run and 8 runs batted in.
The game he pitched in New York, he pitched in and out of trouble in that game, and did a good job and wound up getting the win. He went 5 innings.
1-2 pitch. Just missed off the inside corner. It's 2-2. Well, like all the pitchers that were ineffective in Colorado, really it was only Cole Hamels that was effective, but like all the other pitchers, everything was up. And the Rockies were able to thrive on it.
Right, you can't pitch up in this league, but you especially cannot pitch up in Denver.
3-2.
Ball just wants to go up on its own, let alone if you give it a little help.
Yes, it does. A looper out toward left field. Dominic Brown comes in to put it away. So the leadoff batter's retired. Now Pettibone will face Jordany Valdespin.
Well, time now for Nissan Keys to the game. You have to have some patience with G. At least you used to, because he'll pitch backwards a lot. A lot of change-ups, breaking balls, and well, guys have to try and pick up each other in the pen. Another guy goes down. We're going to talk about that a little bit with Murph coming up, but you know that's been a problem throughout this season, using all these young guys out in the bullpen.
Well, hopefully Pettibone will pitch deep enough into the game that they won't have to use too many guys out of the bullpen. Valdespin making the start at second base. Because of that, Daniel Murphy's playing first base today for the Mets. Valdespin 207 with 3 home runs and 13 runs batted in. He is 1 for his last 15 over his last 10 games. And as that pitch is low, and it's 2-0.
Valdespin's one of those guys that has some tools, but evidently doesn't play the game right a lot of times, and he's had some problems with the manager. He's also had some trouble with some other guys in the league because he's got a little, as they say in Spanish, perro caliente in him, hot dog.
Well, he's not the only guy.
No, not the only guy, but you know, he got nailed for a little bit of showboating, and that's not the worst thing in the world because it doesn't happen much anymore.
He has 6 career pinch hit home runs. Obviously, he's not in that role today, but 6 career pinch hit home runs, including a grand slam.
Beat the Phillies with 1 last year.
2-2 pitch to him. On the hands, a looper back at third, and Michael Young will put it away for the second out. A couple of good pitches from Pettibone to get the first 2 outs. During the 2013 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Graham Slab ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. They have ice cream outside today. It's going to melt pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's nice here today. Probably a little better in the shade.
David Wright having a good season. 302 with 11 homers and 39 runs batted in. He is 16 for his last 40. And it's 0-1 to him.
He went on a little home run kick there in Atlanta, and that took him past the most home runs that he's hit in the road ballpark from this place was 16 here, 18 now in Atlanta.
Down in Washington, D.C., they've already finished their game today between the Rockies and the Nats on the Toyota Major League scoreboard. DJ LeMahieu, 3 hits, including a home run and 2 RBIs. The Rockies upended the Nationals 7-1.
They really jumped Dan Herron early in that game. He's in one weak spot in their rotation right now. The other 4 guys are really good, but right now Herron is struggling.
Yeah, the Nationals had won 3 straight. That streak started with the victory here against the Phillies. He and Desmond won the game last night with an opposite field home run. And right, oh boy, that was awfully close. It's 2-2. Phillies start the day 7.5 games behind the Braves, who are facing the Milwaukee Brewers as we speak. Outside 3-2. Second 3-ball 2-strike count. Marlon Bird's on deck. And a foul tip hung on to by Ruiz. A strikeout for Pettibone. He went upstairs against David Wright, and the side is retired in order. First strikeout of the day for Pettibone. It's always a big one when you get the best hitter in the other team's lineup. And that's exactly what he did to finish up the first. Annuals lineup for today's ball game brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Rollins, Utley, and Young, followed by Howard, Brown, and then Mayberry. Mayberry is the only change from yesterday. Ben Revere hits 7th again. Carlos Ruiz 8th. At batting 9th and pitching, of course, is Pettibone. And they'll face 27-year-old right-hander Dylan G, 5-7, with an earned run average of 4.56.
Well, since May the 30th, this guy's earned run average is 1.53. In his last 4 starts, 3-1 with a 1.53 earned run average. Overall numbers don't look that impressive, but if you start counting from the month of June, as we talked about in the opening, he has been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. Phillies have really hit him hard over the years, and to think that he likes coming to this ballpark, 2-3 here in 8 games with a 7+ earned run average.
That's right, game on. The dog with his own shirt. Stuffed animal, I should say.
Seen one of those before.
Jimmy Rollins leads it off for the Phils for the second straight day. Rollins was 2 for 5 yesterday.
Need one of those for Nittany.
Might be a little big for Nittany.
Probably. Well, we could shrink it.
Rollins overall hitting .262 with 4 homers and 24 runs batted in.
Like a lot of guys, he has tremendous numbers off Dylan G, as you would imagine with that stratospheric earned run average that he has against the Phils.
He's 8 for 13 against him. And he pulls that one over to first. Daniel Murphy's there, and he'll take it to the bag. And there's one away.
Gets you right with a changeup right out of the chute, and that's the same Dylan G. A lot of fastballs and changeups.
Chase Utley was 0 for 5 in yesterday's ball game. His first game since the 20th of May. Overall, his numbers at .264 with 7 home runs and 25 runs batted in. He said after yesterday's game that he felt fine, which was a good thing. He said he's past the injury at this point. There's no ill effects from it whatsoever, except for the amount of time that he's missed.
He hit 2 balls hard last night in the 5 at bats.
He did strike out one time.
He popped up, catcher, and 2 balls right on the nose.
Fouls that one off his foot. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Joe Bolinone of Philadelphia. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, and Joe will win $200. Joe, I may not have pronounced your name correctly. I did the best I could, but we put it up there.
Yeah. An easier one than I had. Or a much tougher one than I had. I had a real easy one last night. Feel for you on that one.
What a 2 to Utley.
There's that fastball, and his fastball, according to our Bloomberg stuff, here is averaging 88.8. So this is a guy that may top off at 90. Maybe.
Well, that one was at 89.
There you go.
Utley drills it to right field, a base hit. Marlon Byrd playing deep. Gets the throw in. So a 1-out single. And that'll bring Michael Young to the plate.
Talking about some of the reasons why maybe he's better. And some of the Mets people are kind of, well, we're not sure, but they say he is pitching inside a little bit more, and that helps set up his all-speed stuff. That would look like a fastball. Yeah, up and out over the plate, high in the zone, and Chase just got on top of it. First hit since coming back.
So he's aboard. Michael Young, who was 0 for 5 with a couple strikeouts yesterday.
Hefner wore him out with sliders last night.
Fastball in the outside corner. It's 0-1. Michael the other night picked up career hit number 2,300 in the game against the Washington Nationals. He's been hot lately. You see the last 2 weeks his average at 373. Outside 1-1.
It's in that 3-hole because they're trying to break these left-handed hitters up. And this is one of the ways that Charlie decided to do it. Drop Revere down to 7, where Ben was effective last night using his legs. Had another good ball game. Not the ideal lineup, but with all the left-handed hitters, he has to break them up for teams for the bullpens later on.
He seems to be okay with having back-to-back lefties, like last night and tonight with Howard and Brown, but he did not want to have 3 straight left-handers.
Yeah, and then you have Mayberry breaking up Brown and Revere. Last night it was Young doing it. Delman Young.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Going away from him again.
And he pulls it toward the hole. A base hit. It's a left field. Utley stops at second. Phillies have first and second with 1 man down.
It's one of those advantages when you get a man on first base. You cheat up the middle, does the defense for a double play, and if you can hook one like that, you got a base hit in the hole. Normally the shortstop will be over further with nobody on, have a chance to make that play. But with a double play in order, base hit. You'll see right here how the ball's going to go right through the hole because the shortstop was playing up the middle for a double play.
And now Howard, who's 4 for 12 with 4 home runs against Dylan G, will get a chance to bat in an RBI situation. He had 2 hits last night, 2 extra base hits. And he takes outside. The ball gets away from Buck, and everybody's going to move up.
Good base running by the Phillies there, and will probably be a pass ball.
It would be the second pass ball of the year for John Buck.
See how they scored. It's certainly. Oh yeah, that's a
pass
ball. Yeah, that's not even close. get a gimme RBI now. Put it in play.
Yeah, the infield is back on the right side. And now Buck is going to go out to talk to Dylan G. Dylan G overall is 26 and 22 with an ERA of 4.17 for his career. Wheels mentioned that there are a couple of guys that had really good numbers against him, including Rollins, Michael Young, and Ryan Howard is one of the others.
And you mentioned, Tom, the 4 homers off him, 10 RBIs too. Chance for more here.
And he hits that one off the end of the bat, a flare into center field, read perfectly by Michael Young. Utley scores. Here comes Young, and the Phillies have a 2-run lead.
Talking to Ryan Sandberg a little bit this morning about all the stuff that's been happening. And, you know, you're coaching third in a small ballpark with slow runners, and he's not going to make any excuses, but he'll stick by his decisions that he's made. Well, that makes it a lot easier when you do what Tom just said Michael Young did. You give him a chance to score. You get a good jump. You read the ball, see where the infielder's playing right off the end of the bat. You see where that infielder is. You know he has no chance to catch it, and they have no chance to throw you out with that jump. And Sandberg can wave him around no problem. That makes it a lot easier coaching third.
Well, here's Dominic Brown, 4 for 15 on the homestand. 2 of those 4 hits came last night. And he takes a changeup for a strike. Brown with 19 home runs and 50 runs batted in. We're not even at the halfway point of the season. And he has 50 runs batted in.
Well, nice way to get started against a guy that hasn't been giving up much. He gave that minuscule ERA for Dylan G, under 2, and they've already hit him with 2.
And Dominic Brown on 3 pitches is retired. 2 outs.
He toyed with him there. I think it looked like a changeup that he threw him. It was a changeup, and he was just trying to foul it off at the last second. I guess Dominic Brown thought he was going to get something inside, because watch how he reacts. He sees it tailing away. He knows it's a strike, and he's just trying to spoil it. That was a true emergency swing there.
Well, now John Mayberry, who is starting today instead of Delman Young. He has 2 home runs against G. That's part of the reason why he's in there this afternoon.
Yeah, we showed one of them in the opening, that one he hit off a high fastball down the left field line back in April.
Inside, 1-0.
That's G trying to say, I know you've hurt me. Now I'm going to push you back a little bit, and then I'm maybe try my soft stuff away to you. Or maybe come back in there again. That's where he hurt him last time, with a high fastball in. Yep, came right back in there again. Pitching to that area where he got hurt last time.
Phillies jumped out to a 3-0 lead last night. They didn't score. They had 3 in the second. After that, they left 8 runners on base.
Yep.
10 overall, but 8 after they scored the 3 runs.
David Wright made an unbelievable play in the game to save a run, and they wound up losing by a run. And
outside, 3-1.
And Lagares ran down a ball in center field that was really well hit. That guess it was Carlos Ruiz hit,
yeah.
And it was high. You know, it's a ball he should have caught eventually, because he can really run. He got a good jump on it, and there's a chance for more runs.
Good spot for Mayberry with Howard at first. Right side, Valdez being the second baseman. A few steps onto the outfield, Grass makes the catch, and the Phillies are retired here in the first. But the big piece with a big swing. Little blooper to center field has given the Phillies a 2-0 lead as we go to the second. against the Atlanta Braves. The first place Atlanta Braves, 2 night games and a day game. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Braves are playing the Brewers as we speak. They're in the 2nd inning of that ball game out in Milwaukee. We begin the 2nd. The Phillies up 2-0. Marlon Byrd will lead it off for the Mets. Bird's had a decent year. 49 hits. 11 of those hits are home runs. His average at .258. See what he's done against the Phillies so far this year. And a line drive base hit into left field. So that's his 3rd hit. He's rounding first, thinking 2, but Dominic Brown got to it quickly. A leadoff single. Daniel Murphy's coming up. Speaking of Murphy, let's check in with our Murphy. Greg Murphy.
We're everywhere, T-Mac. Murphys are everywhere. Hey, you mentioned a transaction that the Phillies made today. Mike Adams being placed on the 15-day disabled list with bicep tendonitis, so he will be unavailable for the Phils. In his place, J.C. Ramirez has been brought up from the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and he'll get a chance to pitch out of the bullpen for the Phillies. He's had kind of an up-and-down season at the Lehigh Valley. Get this, he's had 33 innings pitched down there. 13 of those 23 innings, scoreless baseball. But 9 of the other 10, he's allowed 2 runs or more as they get Murphy to ground into a double play. So he has been either hot or cold down in the Lehigh Valley. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts up here, guys.
Well, he was acquired in the Cliff Lee trade to Seattle, along with Tyson Gillies and Philippe Almont. A lot of folks thought that he would be a major league starting pitcher when they acquired him from the Seattle Mariners. He's a big kid. Saw him walking around the clubhouse today. I mean, we've seen him a lot in spring training these last few years.
Yeah, big fastball, but he never had a whole lot of movement on it. And that's been one of the problems. It throws hard, but it was down the middle.
John Buck takes a strike. It's 0-1. Murph, by the way, did you have those people sit behind you because they have the exact same colored shirt you have?
That's exactly why. It's light blue shirt day. So I will be surrounded by folks in light blue all day.
All right, tell them we're wearing the cream Tommy Bahama tomorrow. They want to do that too.
I'll let them know.
Hey, give them the whole list for the road trip too, because we're trying to study it right now.
It is quite a list.
That's unbelievable, Murph.
1 ball, 1 strike to John Buck. 12 home runs, 36 runs batted in. And he fouls it away. It's 1-2.
What are the odds with 10 games everybody will get them right?
Well, we've studied them. We've put different names to them.
I mean, I was even asking you questions this morning to try and see if we had it right.
We are bringing a shirt back that we haven't worn in quite some time.
It's true. It'll be a little cool in San Diego.
1-2 pitch. Not a bad spot at all. Just missed. That one was at 95 miles an hour. Now, I'm not sure what's going on today with Pettibone's fastball, but that's at least 3 miles an hour quicker than any fastball he's thrown in the big leagues.
And that's not the first one of those today.
No. It's another good pitch. They appeal, and Adrian Johnson says nope. And there are probably a lot of folks around the Delaware Valley say, are you sure, Adrian?
That was a cutter or a slider, and good call.
Yeah, he held up. It's a third 3-ball 2-strike count for Pettibone. Inside, ball 4. And a 2-out walk for Kirk Neuenhuis.
Neuenhuis with 1 home run this year, and he hit it in a walk-off. He got the Mets going with this little hot streak they're on. He did it on Sunday afternoon, a week ago tomorrow. He did it at New York, a 3-run homer, and brought them back from a 3-run deficit to win the 9th inning at home.
Marlon Byrd had scored 1 of the runs in that inning, and then Neuenhuis came up with the home run to win it. Takes outside.
Another one of the guys has been up and down for them this year. They've really had a rotation in that outfield.
Well, now there's a rotation on the right side of the infield too.
Yeah, without Duda today.
And with Ike Davis being down in the minor leagues, although Davis has hit 4 home runs the last couple of days, so they think he might be back soon.
Yeah. Duda's getting an oblique checked out today, so at game time or early before the game he wasn't even here, but he's probably not available, so they don't have a left-handed hitter on the bench.
1-1 pitch out front, off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
Pretty good changeups he's thrown there to this left-handed hitter.
Well, they've tinkered with that too. Rich Doobie has talked about getting him more of a turn to put more behind his fastball, but he's also tinkered with his grip of his changeup too.
Well, he keeps saying that this guy has more fastball in him.
Outside.
They work in those bullpen sessions, try to improve on things, try to help guys with stuff.
Ground ball right side. Chase Utley will wait for the hop. Pettibone allows a couple of base runners. The double play certainly helped here in the second. No runs, 1 hit. And 1 man left on to the bottom of the second. It's the Phillies 2 and the Mets nothing. Down to the NBA draft. What will the Sixers do with the 11th overall pick, and are they close to choosing a new head coach? Plus the latest of the Flyers and their recent offseason moves. Watch Philly Sports Talk Monday night at 5. Only on Comcast Sportsnet. J.C. Ramirez, the newest member of the Phillies, is sitting with his legs moving back and forth, talking to Antonio Bastardo. Now this is different. That's right. There's J.C. This is different for JC, but he has, as we said, been with this club a lot in spring training.
Right.
He's just never been at the big ballpark. But it's big and it's beautiful. And that bullpen's getting younger and younger.
Yeah, not because they necessarily want it to be that way. It's out of necessity.
Ben Revere leads it off. Revere riding an 11-game hitting streak. 2 for 4 in yesterday's ball game. Dylan G allowed 3 hits and 2 runs. 1 run was earned, 1 was unearned in the first because of the pass ball by John Buck. Out toward left center field. And Eric Young takes care of Ben Revere. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality. MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. It's a great day for baseball. There's a lot of American Legion ball going on around the area. Also, the Carpenter Cup, a Phillies-sponsored tournament, is going on as we speak. In fact, over at on Ashburn Field at FDR Park, a team of high school all-stars from Mercer County is leading their game over Delaware County 11-2 going into the bottom of the 7th.
How could that possibly happen?
Ground ball toward the hole, cut off by David Wright. And there's 1 away.
Believe it.
Or 2 away, excuse me. Well, I'll tell you, Wheels, that I know Mark Duffy has a base hit for Mercer County out of Allentown High School.
I knew you'd be up on that. I'm not up in the Delaware County part, except there's, of course, a rooting interest there.
I got you.
For Delaware County.
Carpenter Cup has always been a great tournament that culminates with a game here at Citizens Bank Park championship.
Put that together back in the 80s, Al, the Phillies Community Relations Department with a lot of high school coaches from the area. The late Lou Bonder from Marple Newtown was very, very important to putting that together for the Phillies. Had a little bit to do with it back in those days, and of course it was named and dedicated to the Carpenter family. Well, thanks to all those coaches back in the 80s, it made all this possible. A lot of kids have had some great experiences with that.
I think all of us who played in this area growing up would have loved to have had the chance to play. Well, for us, for me, would have been at the Vet. For you, would have been
Connie Mack Stadium.
Connie Mack Stadium.
Yeah, that would have been a thrill.
Pettibone hits it the opposite way. Flagged down on one hop by David Wright. And the side is retired. Ball was hit sharply. David Wright reacted by going to his knees and scooping it. A little bit of an olé from the Gold Glover over at third base. And the Phillies go down in order here in the bottom of the second. We head to the third here in South Philadelphia. To the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. Wheels, here's the question. Who are the two Mets in franchise history that have played all 162 games in one season? The answer will be revealed in the seventh inning. We go to the top of the third. And Pettibone, a little extra time, coming back out onto the mound after making the final out. He's just finishing up his warm-up tosses. He's allowed one hit and has walked one. He's had a few 3-ball counts so far. Getting a chance to work with Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. Now, don't forget, tomorrow the Phillies will wrap up the series against the Mets at 1:35. All fans 14 and under will receive the Cliff Lee t-shirt, compliments of IBEW Local 98. You can stop by the ticket office to purchase your tickets, or you can go to Phillies.com right now. Phillies will hit the road afterward. They'll head to San Diego, then Los Angeles, and then finally Pittsburgh.
At least it's on the way back.
That is true.
This trip is geographically perfect.
Last trip we kept on going west.
Kept going.
And this trip will stay west and then head east.
And the Phillies will now have concluded their schedule out west by the end of June this year. Amazing.
Can you remember the last time something like that happened?
No.
1-1 to Quintanilla.
And includes trips to Denver and Phoenix too, which is nice. Won't go more than an hour time zone away to St. Louis, the furthest trip they'll have.
That ball is pulled foul, and it's 1-2. Yes, the Phillies still have St. Louis. They have Chicago. Don't have to worry about Houston anymore.
Nope.
And Detroit.
Yeah, that's an Eastern time zone.
Right. Outside, 2-2. Quintanilla, a .257 hitter, playing shortstop for the injured Ruben Tejada.
He got a big hit here last night. 2-out hit.
They work it away. It's 3-2. Really, the only issue right now is he's had 4 full counts and a line drive base hit. That would have been an issue.
He's
line
a big
drive base hit right through the middle.
He's a big, tall guy, and he ducked out of the way, lost his balance, and they'll get all over him later if he could have a good day out here, because that was a little awkward. Safety first. Quintanilla goes out and gets his fastball away. It's right at his head, and then when he turns, he catches the downslope a little bit and heads on down.
And with nobody out, Dylan G will be up there to sacrifice. Although G is a 130 hitter.
3 sacks on the year.
And he takes strike 1.
I think they don't have a catcher on base. A lot of times the 8-hole hitchers, 8-hole in a lineup is for the catcher, so they can be tough to bunt over. In this case, they have an infielder who runs decent.
And he bunts toward first. And Ryan Howard will just tag him out. Sacrifice is successful. 3 unassisted. And now to the top of the order for Eric Young. For years, StubHub has been the place to find great Phillies tickets. And this season, you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Eric Young fly to left his first time up. Maybe a little surprised that the Rockies let him go.
Yeah, he's, to me, is an extra guy and a really good one to have on a winning team. Now, whether or not he can hold down an everyday position with the New York Mets, we'll see. Maybe the Rockies just think they have something else, and they want to work with some other outfielders, or going that way. You just don't know about another organization, but he has enough tools that he should play in the big leagues for a long time.
Speed being the primary tool,
and a switch hitter too. One thing he doesn't do, he doesn't throw real well from the outfield. You saw earlier.
He bunts up the third base line. This will be a tough play. Pettibone's throw is not in time.
See, that wasn't a good play unless he was safe. And he is. And it was close, too. There's already 1 out. But he's bunting for a base hit there, and he gets it. If he doesn't bunt that perfectly, and somebody makes an out, now you have a runner at third with 2 outs. So it's not a good play, but it is. Because he does a good job with the bunt right there. He gets a bat out in perfect position. Tom mentioned his speed, and he beats it at first on a bang-bang play. And now you have to worry about him stealing. Nice job by Pettibone. That's very athletic.
Eric Young has stolen 8 bases this year. Here's Valdespeed. He popped out to third his first time up.
Phillies pinch up the middle for a double play. Bring Michael Young in at third. With a left-handed hitter on the offside, what that does is give him the option, if the ball's hit hard at Michael Young, go for a double play. If it's not, and they run, which they probably will, he can come home and cut the run down. That's why you play him up at third.
Ground ball right side. Utley charges. He flips to second. That's all they'll get. A run scores. But it's a 2-1 ball game. So an RBI for Valdespeed. Well, he got the ground ball. It was just hit too softly.
Right, and a correct play by Chase too, to go get the lead man, keep the force in order with 2 outs, and the tying run out of scoring position for a dangerous hitter like Wright.
Pettibone got Wright swinging his last time up. David Wright is a lifetime 300 hitter. His average this year is at 300.
How many runs he saves with his glove, too. Got to figure some way to get him on the All-Star team, don't they? And especially playing in New York.
Well, he's the captain of the Home Run Derby,
right,
for the National League. But yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Trails.
Outside corner, 1-1.
Trying to think.
I didn't look at it. I'm not
no,
sure. No,
he trails Panda Bear.
Oh, Pablo Sandoval, who's hurt right now.
Right, who's hurt right now. So that would be a way to get him on. And he just should play in that game.
Well, he's having a good enough year that he could be selected even if he's not picked by the fans.
Right.
He's the captain of the National League's Home Run Derby team, and then Robinson Cano is the captain of the American League.
Right, and then with the game being played at Citi Field in New York, David Wright should be in that game. Certainly not like he'd be a mercy booking off a bad year.
Ground ball to third. Michael Young flips to second in time to get Valdespin. Side is retired. The Mets do get a run back, though, on a ground out by Valdespin. Top of the order due up for the Phillies when we return for the bottom of third. Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. Buy Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. And buy Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Well, the place is looking spectacular here this afternoon. The Mets and the Phillies.
Expect a sellout here. Yeah, expect a sellout here this afternoon, too. Sure looks like one.
There are seats still available for tomorrow's game, but it's going to be another nice crowd. John Lannon on the mound for the Phillies against Matt Harvey for the New York Mets. And then when the Phillies head out to San Diego on Monday, it's Cliff Lee. It'll be Lee, Kendrick, and Hamels in those 3 games against the Padres, who are playing very good baseball. Jimmy Rollins takes a little high, 1-0.
Yeah, that division's tight. The Dodgers are the team a lot of people thought would win that division, and they're struggling. The Marlins have gone out there and beaten the Giants twice.
And they lead today 1-0 in the third. 2-0 to Rollins, who grounded out his only time up. He hooked a change up to first. And it's 3-0.
Jimmy was walking a lot in that 3-hole. Now he's going to bat leadoff now that everybody's back. And he runs a deep count here. Maybe he can get on.
Rollins is the number 3 hitter, hit just .234. But as Wheels alluded to, his on-base percentage was a little bit better in that spot than the leadoff spot. Lifts that one down the left field line. It's in play at the moment, but nobody's going to get there. Just not fast enough in left field to track that one down. They may have been playing him toward the alleyway in left center a little bit. Neuenhuis.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those towering pop-ups either that gives guys a real good chance to get under it either.
Utley waits on deck. Rollins, Utley, and Michael Young, with the Phillies leading it 2-1. Monday night on Phillies Clubhouse, we'll catch up with Jimmy Rollins at his Harlem Nights charity event, which I heard was a great success. Kevin Franzen shares how his late brother's battle with cancer inspired him to get back to the big leagues. Plus an interview with Phillies first-round pick J.P. Crawford. Phillies Clubhouse Monday at 6:30 right here in Comcast Sportsnet as Rollins is struck out. Second strikeout for G, who's now retired 6 in a row.
Game's moving along pretty fast, so welcome back. Congratulations to you and Meg on Patrick's graduation.
I appreciate it. It's a very nice event last night at the War Memorial in Trenton, New Jersey.
Good to have you back. There you go. There's the big night.
I was standing in a hole. That's why he's taller than I am.
Sure you were.
Chase Utley now the hitter, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1.
He's always going to be taller than you. Hole or no hole.
Always going to be taller. And I think getting taller and taller.
Yeah.
That was a great night. It was kind of interesting to see all the kids that I watched him grow up with.
Yep.
Now are all going off to college. That league, foul tip, it's 0-2.
Basically about 4 years away from the real world intruding.
Seriously. And for some of them, that's imposing.
Yep. You bet.
Utley singled and scored his first time up. And out in front of a changeup. Back-to-back strikeouts for G.
Oh, yeah, that was a really good changeup he threw there. They started out, Jimmy got himself out chasing the high 3-2. And now Dylan G, that's his bread and butter. If he can get ahead and throw his changeup, he'll pitch backwards with it a lot too. When it's down, great arm speed.
Michael Young takes a breaking ball, and that's inside, 1-0. Young singled his first time up. He and Utley both moved up on a pass ball, and then both scored on the base hit by Ryan Howard.
2 games Phillies have taken leads, 3-0 and 2-0. Couldn't hold on last night. Real early in this one, still with the lead.
I think that's the concerning thing. I mean, everybody knows the offense is concerning, but the fact that they scored 3 in the second yesterday and then left 8 on after that. Now, since scoring in the first, they've left just 1 on, because Dylan G has now retired 8 consecutive hitters. So the offense is done for the third. We go to the fourth, and Jonathan Pettibone stretching himself out to go back to work. Of the week, and the pitcher of the week comes from the Clearwater Threshers, Hobie Milner, 1-0 with an earned run average of 0. He allowed just one hit in his outing this past week for the Threshers. And Willie Carmona playing for the Lakewood Blue Claws. That's a pretty good week right there. 3 runs scored and 6 runs batted in. So congratulations to those guys. Also congratulations to Michael Franco, who hit his first home run in Double-A last night. Understand it was a long one. Marlon Byrd leads it off as we go to the 4th. And the pitch is outside, 1-0.
Anytime you go to a different league and you start doing well right away, it just gives you that confidence that, hey, I'll be a major leaguer pretty soon.
Well, he's Franco, that is putting together a heck of a year so far between Clearwater and now playing in Reading as Marlon Byrd sends one the opposite way. John Mayberry ventures back to make the catch, and there's one away. Daniel Murphy grounded it to a double play, a 5-4-3 double play. His first time up.
Nice little cutter, he's throwing in there. Fastball seems to be coming out of his hand pretty good. Jumping at the plate. The difference too between the minor league pitchers and major leaguers, and minor league pitchers can't repeat as much. This level, you got to be able to repeat that delivery.
Well, that fastball's at 92. We showed a few of them earlier that were at 95 from Pettibone.
Yeah, you just need to really steer away from those walks and get a little closer to the plate, and preferably down right there.
Well, at 6 feet 6 inches, Pettibone is certainly imposing on top of that mound. That one is through the hole on the left side, so a base hit for Murphy. 4th hit of the day for the Mets. So a 1-out base hit for John Buck, who's coming to the plate. Oh, we just saw the Washington Nationals on this homestand. Well, they're coming back pretty quickly. Monday, July 8th is the start of a 4-game series. All 4 games are at 7:05. Thursday after the ball game, Xfinity Fireworks Show. What are your tickets for all 4 games at Phillies.com? There's Terry Collins, the manager of the New York Mets, whose team now has a team batting average. And I guess that's why last night's game was so difficult to swallow, and why so many of the losses have been difficult for the Phillies. His team batting average is at .227 coming into today's game.
I got to tell you, though, I have a lot of respect for him. He calls those guys out, and you know, he doesn't mind saying that we just don't have a team. We don't have the personnel that can compete the way that he would like. They start getting rid of players, sending them down to the minors, and he wants a certain kind of player that's going to put out daily, but more importantly, able to do the job.
Had a play down the right field line. Well, speaking of the low team batting averages, we take a look at our Mazda leaders. And the National League East is well represented on that list. Sarge.
Oh boy, okay, that's hard to swallow. I mean, hitting .227 as a team. That means shouldn't be winning very many games.
There's a blooper out to right field. Mayberry comes on, makes the catch. Oh, there are 2 outs. Well, I think one of the surprising teams on that list, when you talk about offensive struggles, are the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I say that because the Pirates are in 2nd place in the Central, 3 games behind the Cardinals, but they're doing it with a solid bullpen, and they also have a ton of shutouts already this year.
Yeah, see, and again, there is a runner getting ready to go, and he just caught everybody sleeping.
Yeah, Murphy just took off, and you heard somebody say in the background he's going, but at that point there was nobody covering second.
Yeah, that's almost premeditated. They've looked to see whether or not heads might be down or exactly what they're doing. You see Utley takes off there, might have been able to get there. It would have been bang, bang. Take a look. He's keeping his eye on the pitcher all the time. Ryan Howard is screaming and yelling, but really don't think they really would have had a play after he had taken off. Looking at the replay, would have had to hit a running target. No excuse for that.
What is he noticing there, Sarge, that caused him to go?
Well, he's just reading it, reading the play. You got, Pettibone looking in there for the sign. You're hearing noise anyway, and he got out, creeped out. No one close to the bag, so it was a foot race. No, that definitely should not happen.
2-0 to NYN Heiss. Watch what Pettibone was doing as this was happening. He's just towing the rubber.
Just taking his time, getting his sign. By the time he pointed, it's too late.
I'm not sure what the infielders were doing, if they had their head down, if they were walking the other way.
Well, they weren't. By the time Utley took off, he saw him kind of running. But by the time he took off, I thought it was too late.
I agree.
Would have had to hit Pettibone, would have had to hit a moving target, which would have been difficult in itself.
NYN Heiss has brushed off the plate, 3-1. You got to have some kind of, you have to have, I think, a little above average speed in order for that to happen.
Well, more so, you can't be scared, because that's a situation you're out there in no man's land if you end up being caught. And that's a long way back to the dugout. But, it doesn't happen often, and it shouldn't, because you're paying attention to the runners that are on base. He timed it just right to be able to get in there.
Ground ball to first, so no harm, no foul, as long as Howard makes this toss, and he does. 3-1 on the putout, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left in scoring position. We've played 3.5. Ryan Howard is due to lead it off when we get back. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Buy Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most innovative lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. And by Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? Bottom of the 4th, Phillies up 2-1. They'll have Ryan Howard, Dominic Brown, and John Mayberry to lead it off on what has been a gorgeous day in the Delaware Valley. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves today. I'll tell you, the traffic coming over the Walt Whitman today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's summertime. The traffic going the other way toward the AC Expressway.
Oh, boy.
Holy cow. Folks down in Ocean City and Sea Isle City, Wildwood, Avalon, all those places, it's going to be packed today.
Beautiful day for it.
Ryan Howard takes inside. It's 1-0. Howard's driven in 2 this afternoon.
Starting to pick up those RBIs. And a few more doubles he has now. They've been able to do the job.
That one's out toward left field. Going back is Neuenhuis. Warning track to the wall. Gone! Solo home run for Ryan Howard. It's his 5th against Dylan G. And it's a 3-1 ball game. Home run number 9 for Howard.
Well, let's take a look at the swing, analyze it as he goes the other way this time. That's more like it as he hits that ball. And look at how his eyes are down, hitting against that front foot. But more importantly, his eyes, his balance. Terrific there. About time you start hitting that ball and hitting it hard. Look at those RBIs I was talking about. That's what it's all about.
He now has 40 overall, including the 3 today, and he's made a winner of Joe Bolanone of Philadelphia. He's just won $200 thanks to Ryan Howard and the McDonald's home run jackpot.
Since moving off the plate, it's really done wonders. He's not really worried about, I guess, that ball inside, more or less looking for it out over the plate. Charlie's a happy person when he sees the big piece driving in all the runs here so far today.
Well, it just makes the lineup look so much better when he's able to do it.
When he's hitting, again, there's other guys that can get hot, but when this guy's hitting, he's proved it. A lot of guys have to hit. He can carry this club.
Dominic Brown rips one down the right field line. It's a fair ball, 1 hop off the wall. And Brown will get to second. 11th double of the year for Dominic.
Like to see him turn on the ball that way. You get one going out that way. Now you get a double that's down the line, ringing double. Just got to remember what he's done. You got to remember that stroke and just stay there. If he ends up hitting the ball out, take it, but stay with that foundation.
John Mayberry popped out to second his first time.
Get the opportunity to play again. Pretty good pitch if you're trying to go the other way. He's not at his best when he gets on his heels, when he's taking that shoulder right back toward the pitcher. Any hitter makes it easier for you.
He pulled that one as shortstop. Quintanilla flips it to first. And Ben Revere's coming up with Dominic Brown at second. Oh, with Ryan Howard's home run, and for every home run hit this year, 1 tree will be planted by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society as part of Home Runs for Trees, a partnership between the Phillies, PHS, and Aramark. Home Runs for Trees is part of Plant 1 Million, a project to restore the region's tree coverage. For more information, visit phillies.com/red goes green. Revere fly to center his only time up. He's 0 for 1. Good lead for Brown, and that draws the attention of Quintanilla.
If he is bunting for a base hit, you want to make sure it's right close to the line.
Out to right field. It's a little floater. Bird on the run. He's not going to get there. Brown's around third, heading for home. And he'll score standing. And the Phillies lead it 4-1. It's a 12-game hitting streak for Ben Revere.
Well, that's the way to do it. Game a drive in, a run, 2 with it. That ball, he ended up getting jammed on, but a good thing, though, because that floated right there into right field. Marlon Bird not able to even make a play on it. Fight Fields continue to add on. There it is, right there on his hands. Quick hands, however, got to be level. You see how he's looking around there. No chance at all. The ball hit very softly. Standing up, coming in, Dominic Brown there in your picture.
10 RBIs now for Revere. Here's Ruiz, who grounded out his first time up. Phillies lead it 4-1. They have 6 hits now. Ben Revere may have been out if Daniel Murphy had held on to that ball.
Well, he was going all the way. His reactions, Tom, are so quick. You know, in getting back, that ball there maybe down a little bit. He might have had a shot, but I got to tell you, he's going to jump, and he looks like he's, Wills would say, a little bit runnerish. Look out.
That's a quick bat right there. There goes Revere. The pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second, not in time. Goes into center field. Revere didn't realize it right away. That's his 18th stolen base.
I got to tell you, boy, pretty good jump there. As he gets there, he's going to slide. Just wasn't able to pick up the ball quick enough as he slaps his hand and says, wow, maybe I could have gotten there, but he did right. If you can't locate the ball right away by the time the fielder gets it, that's to stay on the bag.
Carlos pulls it toward shortstop. And they're 2 away for Pettibone. That was awfully close to allowing Revere to go to third, where it was.
Oh. Altogether, a different situation with that infield being in. Same ball that's hit, more or less, would probably be a base hit and an RBI. Nothing Ben, however, could do about that after he steals the base, trying to really stay on it. Locating the base or the ball, wasn't able to do. A lot of times you're not swinging the bat well and facing a pitcher that you've had good success. You really welcome that opportunity.
Just gets you better.
Boy, it just makes you feel that much better. And, walking to the plate, you have a chance as you hit him in the past. Just the opposite on a guy that you haven't hit. You don't want to see him.
2 balls, 1 strike to Pettibone. Pettibone dribbles it up the right side. G will take it right to the bag. His side is retired. The Phillies do get 2. The first one on a home run the opposite way by Ryan Howard. It's his 9th of the year. I think he knew once it left the bat it had a chance to get out of the yard. And then Ben Revere's base hit made it 4-1 as we go to the 5th. player in the break room. Whether it's a candy bar to satisfy your sweet tooth or a healthy snack to keep you in playing shape, W.B. Mason has all the bases covered. Who but W.B. Mason? Phillies lead it 4-1 as we go to the top of the fifth. Jonathan Pettibone made the last out at the end of the bottom of the fourth. Still warming up onto the mound. Ryan Howard, I'm not sure if the knee is feeling better or if moving off the plate has helped that much. But he is swinging the bat a whole lot better. Yeah. In my mind, there may be a time where he needs to move closer to the plate, but for his psyche, it seems like being a half inch to an inch away from the plate is.
That's a good point.
Is okay.
Well, he's made an adjustment, and he doesn't feel comfortable when he's close on the plate. I thought it would make it easier for him, but he seems to be a little bit more disciplined when he is back of the plate there. He's moved away, and that ball there normally would be on the inside part of the plate. Now that ball is just almost right down the middle there for him, and he feels comfortable. And that's what it's all about, is a hitter feeling comfortable in the batter's box to get the best ability out of it.
All right, so now Pettibone has been staked to a 3-run lead. He had a 2-0 lead and now a 4-1 lead. He'll face Quintanilla, the pitcher's spot, and then the top of the order. Quintanilla singled and scored the only run for the Mets. That was back in the third. Out of play, 1-1. Michael Young over at third base takes care of Quintanilla. And with one out, Dylan G is the batter. Let's check you with Murph. Murph, where the heck are you?
Well, I'm hiding out down low, but I have today's cold hard fact that is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. And did you know, guys, that on this date in 1932, the National League, at a meeting of club presidents, finally approved players wearing numbers on their jerseys? They were a little bit later than the American League. The American League started back in 1929.
Dylan G hits one out towards center field where number 2, Ben Revere, makes the catch. I wonder what year, Murph, I don't know if you know this, what year they decided to allow the players to choose their numbers. Because wasn't it at the beginning that they wore whatever spot in the order they were, that's the number they wore?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way they did it early on. That's when you see the retired numbers for the New York Yankees. A lot of those low numbers are retired because the 1s and the 2s and the 3s were all taken back then. But I don't know the year that they started to choose their own number. Sarge, did you get to choose your own number when you got started in the 70s?
I sure did. I had number 3 in Little League, number 18 in high school. Once I went to the professional leagues, most of the 20s were gone with Mays and Bonds and those guys, so I ended up getting number 36. Didn't wear it here, however, because of Mr. Roberts.
Right.
So I switched to 34. But every chance I could get to wear 36, I would wear that.
See, I think 34 is a number that fits your style more than 36.
Well,
36 is a pitcher's number.
I made it into a hitter's
That's
number.
You did.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I think Roy's taken that back to a pitcher's number at this point.
He has.
Well, you see a lot of pitchers, too, though. Boy, I tell you what, Holiday and I, we've been selling a lot of those 34.
You guys sure have.
Let me tell you. But that number 36, once you get a number, you usually kind of just, you stay right with it. Is what I did, and I won the Rookie of the Year with it, so no reason for me to change.
All right, now if you're Pettibone, 44. You get your first big league assignment, 44. That's a great number.
Yeah, that is a nice number. I think that's a hitter's number, too, to be quite frank.
Well, that is true. Ground ball to second base. And Chase Utley throws out Ryan Howard. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets. Sarge, that's what they call what?
Shut down inning.
Yes, they do. We go to the bottom of the fifth. The Phillies lead it 4-1. The stars aligned for the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game as the best of the American League take on the National League's top players. Don't miss the action Tuesday, July 16th at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. Bottom of the fifth, Phillies up 4-1. Well, Center City's looking pretty darn good today.
Sure is.
Top of the order, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Michael Young. Rollins is 0 for 2. He's grounded out. He's also struck out. And he pops one up. Left side, Quintanilla in shallow left field. One pitch, one set aside here in the fifth. No, we mentioned that Sarge's number 34 was the number he wore in Philadelphia. And on cue, somebody tossed up the jersey and said, Sarge, will you sign it?
Unbelievable. I told you, we've been doing a pretty good job in selling those.
You and Doc?
Oh, yeah. Doc and I. Doc's, don't know if he's around right now, but we're keeping that. Well, we're keeping it going. Just let me tell you.
I saw Doc before the game. He's sitting in the dugout right now watching today's ball game.
Tell you, all those players, too, sorry, Tom, they're eager to get back. I mean, they work out very hard. They see what's going on, and, you know, they want to try and get back to where they were before, and that's intimidating clubs. Not intimidating the clubs the way that they used to. You know, and you do that by good pitching and also playing good defense and being able to score more than 3 runs, which they've done that today.
Little dribbler foul, and it's 0-2. Well, in the Phillies dugout, you just saw Eric Kratz. Next to him is Jeremy Horst, and then a few feet down is Roy Halladay. All 3 of those guys are looking to get back. There's Doc. Doc was out in the outfield throwing today.
You get a whole different perspective when you're on the DL and you're coming and you're looking at the team. You know, and even though you're there and you're really kind of a part of it, it's almost like, you know, you're not a part of it. I mean, guys will say, hey, how you doing, this or that, but there's the work to do. Train's still moving on. Just because one player isn't there, you still got to try and do the things you can to be able to win. And when you're sitting there, you can see other things there in the game and then wondering, is this the way we've been playing? So hopefully once those guys are able to come back, they can pick it up and things will start to be a little bit better for them.
Eric Kratz told me today that he feels outstanding.
Coming into his own as a hitter, feeling a lot better too.
1-2 pitch coming to Utley. And a foul tip, and Utley's down on strikes for the second time. That was a pretty good changeup.
Sure was.
4 strikeouts for G.
Good call on that there. Is that see that the grip on it, but look at the movement on it. The deceiving part is the hand motion. You think it's a fastball, and you can see the way that it actually moved away.
Michael Young is 1 for 2. Hits one in the air to left field. Neuenhuis going back to the warning track, to the wall. Gone! Boy, did that ball carry on out of here. Phillies with a 5-1 lead thanks to a solo home run by Michael Young.
Well, Michael's starting to heat up again. Making solid contact, line drive. Means a lot to this club, I tell you. Always says all the right things, giving you an effort. Fastball hitter. Looks for it most of the time. They're foot down. Can't do anything until that foot is down. And I didn't know if he had enough, but it started to carry.
4th home run of the year for Michael Young. 18th RBI. And he has scored 2 in this game.
Oh, and I tell you what I like about that, Steve Henderson. Very steady.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, boy.
We're going back to back. Michael Young and Ryan Howard. And the Phillies now lead it 6-1. His second home run of the day, and how about 4 RBIs?
I got to tell you, that's just an emotional swing. That's a familiar ride there as he comes in to home plate. Solid contact. Driving the ball out near the AT sign. Little salute at home plate as he's coming in. All smile. take a look at it. Off the plate again, that ball up and in. Did that little Superman little pose as he hits that ball out of the ballpark. It's going to make him feel good. You let him get hot. See how this National League East starts to wind up.
Last multi-home run game for Howard, August of 2011. Now Dominic Brown. And Brown grounds one to second. And the side is retired, but in the blink of an eye, the Phillies have gone yard twice here in the fifth inning. Those two guys walking to the dugout just pummeled two baseballs from Dylan G. The first one was Michael Young. Young, his fourth home run of the year. Weren't sure if he got enough of this one, but it carried right on out of here. G knew it. And this one, this is a no doubt about it home run by Ryan Howard, his second of the day. Game changer of the week is delivering for the Phillies from different slots in the lineup. No one smiles bigger than Ben, and no one is happier than his manager when the Phillies' speedy center fielder is making things happen. Revere batted over 300 in May, and it continues to rise during the month of June. On the base paths, Ben is beginning to make his mark and is among the National League leaders in snatching bases. He's leading your Phillies, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross, changing the game. Well, those two guys certainly changed the game for the Phillies. Ryan Howard did it early on with a two-run single, then in the fourth, and then another home run in the fifth. Michael Young and Ryan Howard went back-to-back. And at the bottom of the fifth, the Phillies lead it 6-1 as we go to the sixth. Now it's time to throw some strikes if you're Jonathan Pettibone.
Yeah, don't want to start walking any of the batters. Make them hit to get on. Try and keep that ball down if you can. Well, you can see the electricity when the ball starts to fly out in this ballpark. A lot of the fans, I mean, obviously get really happy about that.
Greg Burke throwing in the pen for the Mets.
Don't find the pitcher shaking Chuchoff too much behind home plate. Curveball.
On the hands, out towards short. Rollins is there, and a little snow cone on a warm day here in South Philadelphia. One away. Well, here it is, Sarge, our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, snow cone is absolutely right. Well, an often wondered there, too, right off the bat. Well, that ball just hit so soft, as if you're practicing and you're kind of throwing it. It's a good ball that Pettibone ended up pitching, giving him a 5. Nice going, J-Ro.
Brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Here's David Wright. He's 0 for 2. Nice catch. Wow. In the sweet level. Down the left field line. That guy right there. That was a heck of a catch.
Oh, yeah. Getting high fives, too. I mean, you would think the ball would have hurt his hand. But he's going around getting those high fives. He kind of snatched that one right out of the air, too, by the way. 2 hands using that one. Oh, one-handed.
Yeah, one hand.
Yes.
Wright pulls it to short. On one hop, it's Rollins. Sets himself. Flips to first. Not in time.
Wow.
Just didn't have enough on it. That was a heck of an attempt.
Tell you, we've said it and said it again that for whatever reason, there's a lot of times when you're not hitting, that defense seems to go away. Not here. That's as good a play as you're going to see. And I'm telling you, because David Wright running there all the way, once he's digging as hard as he can. Now look how far back he is and still able to get something on it. Just not able to stretch out there as far. Still a heck of a play.
Marlon Byrd is 1 for 2. He's singled. He's also fly to right.
See those shadows starting to creep up there just a little bit. It's a pretty good pitch right there. Start to get the shadows. The most difficult thing about hitting in the shadows, can't pick up the spin of the ball the way that you would like. Got the pitcher in the sunlight, hitter that's in the shade. Even though he does have on sunglasses, I would think that would help.
Remains 2 balls and 2 strikes to Marlon Byrd. 85 pitches now for Pettibone. The 5th inning certainly helped out. The fact that he was able to throw a 1-2-3 bottom or top of the 5th. And now 13 pitches so far here in the 6th with 1 man down.
That's why it's so important to try and stay ahead of the hitters. You keep your pitch count down, making them hit ground balls.
There's a line drive to center field. Revere is there. Oh boy. Makes the catch. Back to first goes David Wright. It was a sinking line drive.
Yeah, well, it's a tough play because that ball there hit right at you. Anytime the ball is hit right at you, and you notice he gave that sinking kind of sign, meaning that the hitter got on top of that ball. He goes back and watch how he just has that spin on it to bring it back down. They ran to a spot this time, a lot better, under control. Makes a nice little catch out of it.
Out of play. And it's 0-2 to Daniel Murphy. Murphy's hit it to a double play. He singled his last time. Ground ball to second base. Chase Utley throws out Murphy. Pretty good inning for Jonathan Pettibone. He allows an infield hit. Jimmy Rollins tried to get David Wright, just couldn't do it. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. By McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. In between innings, Carlos Ruiz and Jonathan Pettibone discussing what has been a fantastic 6 innings for Pettibone. He's only allowed 1 run on 5 base hits. He may be done for the day, although, his pitch count is still manageable where he can come out and pitch the 7th. I only say that just because of the reaction between Pettibone and Carlos Ruiz. Nobody's up in the Phillies bullpen, but we do go into the New York Mets bullpen.
Yeah. I think he should maybe be able to go out there 6-1 right now.
I agree.
See if he can go out there and get even more confidence. As the more innings he goes out there and he puts up zeros, and
it's a great point.
The more he feels he'll be able to belong.
Well, as we go to the bottom of the 6th, Burke takes over for G. Mets picked up Burke this past off season.
You really got to locate that arm. He drops down on you, and you got to stay in there.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Brewers lead the Braves 2-0. Aramis Ramirez has 3 hits for the Brewers. An RBI and a run scored. Tim Hudson's pitching for the Braves. He's winless in his last 8 starts. It's kind of surprising.
Sure is.
Inside, 2-0. Mayberry's hitless in 2 at-bats.
He's going to go outside with this fastball. See his balance. He's got to have better. He's got to have better balance. He's taking the pitch almost like he's running from the plate. And you can dictate the pitches that you want to hit by the way you go up there and hit the ball. The way you execute yourself.
Mets brought Greg Burke back up from the minor leagues when Jonathan Neese went on the disabled list. Burke grew up in New Jersey, went to Duke University. Now the 3-1 pitch coming to Mayberry. Ground ball, foul.
Well, he worked himself into a good hitting count, 3-1. Just got on top of that. Anytime the pitchers, they drop down, they'll have that movement, which the ball is more a two-seamer, which means that it's going to come back toward you, even if it's on the outside part of the plate.
Popped up left side. David Wright, the third baseman, pounds his glove one time. Mayberry's retired, one away. Now the seventh inning is Pettibones because nobody is warming up in the bullpen for the Phillies, and rightfully so. Coming up on Sports Night, highlights and a full recap of Jonathan's outing and this game between the Phils and the Mets. Also, get an update on what's going on around the NHL with the Stanley Cup playoffs continuing. Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight after postgame live.
Oh, great crowd. Just a great day to look at a ball game.
That's the biggest crowd of the year at 45,725.
You just feel the electricity and just makes you play that much harder, much better. Phillies always have fans here at the ballpark. That hit him.
I don't know if it hit him, but it did. He just pointed to first base, so I think Revere is going to be awarded first. It certainly knocked him down. No, maybe it didn't hit him. I thought the home plate umpire pointed to first. That's Bill Welke behind the plate. Take a listen. I think it hit him. It sounded like it hit his leg.
Well, he was kind of grimacing, but I mean, if you're hit, you really want to go on back. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he wants to hit so bad that he's staying in there, but it appeared that that ball hit him. But Welke's right there. He would have had to have heard it.
Well, Welke did point to first, but that, he didn't put his hands up saying dead ball. So here's the 2-1 to Revere. Line drive to center field, so he'll take the base hit. And he's aboard anyway. He is 2 for 3 today.
Swinging that bat pretty good now. Actually, he's been swinging the bat well here for about the last 3 weeks, to be quite honest.
Since the 1st of May, he's hitting over 320, which is second in Major League Baseball among center fielders.
Wow.
To Mike Trout of the LA Angels.
Well, that's saying something, especially the way that he kind of started off, and a lot of ground balls we've seen him hit.
Ruiz is 0 for 2, 2 ground outs today.
We've seen him throw one pitch here so far, which has been that a two-seam fastball. I think he'd break that slider out sooner or later. Well, so far in, that's about all you can do. If you're going to hit it on the barrel, you're going to pull it. Impossible to keep that particular ball there fair. That's that two-seamer again coming inside. And Ben, he can still stay aggressive, and he get the jump, be able to take a base.
There goes Revere, and the pitch is looped foul. Ben will come back.
Well, he stole on a good pitch. It's that slider, and that one's only 79. Carlos Ruiz trying to punch that right into right field.
goes again. The pitch is taken outside. The throw to second, not in time. Second stolen base of the day for Ben Revere. That's 19 stolen bases for Revere.
He's really getting aggressive. Well, he has been, though. And the only thing that was keeping him from stealing bases, he just wasn't getting on. Hard to steal first base. Take a look, though, and he's starting to get out, getting better jumps. But more importantly, getting a better lead. You get that good lead, you don't have to be able to guess and get the best jump just because of the speed that Ben has.
One ball, 2 strikes with 1 out. After the meeting on the mound, Ruiz will dig in. Revere leads off second. And the pitch, Revere goes. Pitch is taken outside. The throw to third sails over the head of David Wright. And here comes Ben Revere. Another stolen base. He'll score on the error by Buck. And it's a 7-1 ball game.
Yeah, that's what you call kind of taking over the game, and he's doing that with his legs. It just shows you exactly what Charlie was actually talking about to Ben. Well, you got that speed that can really just disrupt a defense as he takes off again. A high throw, trying to get a little bit extra on it. Buck throws the ball away. By then, he's able to just trot in. Well, he's got speed to burn.
Plus, Burke is so slow to the plate that he had that bag stolen easily. 2-2 to Ruiz. 7-1 Phillies. Carlos out front, and he's down on strikes. 2 outs. Three stolen bases by Revere, ties his career high.
That's one heck of a weapon to have toward the bottom of your lineup.
Seriously. His average is up to 281. He now has 20 stolen bases. We're not even halfway through the season. And he didn't even get on base the first month of the season.
No, he sure didn't for whatever reason. Just not able to find his stroke. He's found it now.
Pettibone slaps it the other way. It's out of play, and it's 1-1. Pettibone is grounded out to third on a nice play by David Wright, and also hit a little tapper to the right of the mound that Dylan G took care of. G went the first 5, allowed 8 hits and 6 runs, 5 of which were earned. And he allowed 3 home runs. Tapper off the plate. That's a fair ball. Pettibone is going to be retired very easily. 2-3 on the putout. They're into the game here in Philadelphia.
Oh, no, you got to run the ball a little bit harder than that. I understand he is a pitcher, and that's fine, but you don't have to you got to give a little bit better effort, even though he's on the mound. He is a pitcher.
Well, it's time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. Yeah, that's 7 up there for the Phillies. That's hard to believe. 7 runs right now. They've been pounding it. They just hit Dylan G in this ballpark. Ryan Howard especially has really hit him hard over the years. And he's 3 for 3 with a couple of home runs today and 4 runs batted in. And you see what happened with G. His numbers just continue to rise. He came in with an over 10 earned run average at Citizens Bank Park after being one of the hottest hitters, hottest pitchers in the league. Now all of a sudden, Rich Doobie and Scott Sheridan's coming out to see Pettibone.
Well, Pettibone didn't run up the first base line in that little tapper out in front of the plate, which the fans did boo. And it looked like he grabbed his back once he went through the first base bag. Here we go. Yeah, he looks like he's grimacing as he goes up the line. Now he's taking his batting gloves off. Now right there. Right there is where he puts his hand on his back. So they're going to take him out of the ball game.
Wow. As well as he was pitching today. What a shame to do it hitting, no less.
So now he's getting a round of applause from the fans.
So they probably feel a little bit bad about booing him now, maybe.
This was Pettibone going into the dugout after the at bat. He's trying to stretch his back out.
Yeah, he obviously did something on that swing.
You know, he was twisting a little bit out on the mound a couple innings ago, but I just thought it was part of his normal routine. So we've got an AT&T call to the bullpen. Michael Stutz is going to come in. He has as much time as he needs to get loose here in the 7th. Pitching change because Jonathan Pettibone apparently went down with an injury. Let's take a look at our Coors Light freeze cam. This is one of the plays earlier. Jimmy Rollins venturing backpedaling, and he just plucks it out of the air. A little bit of a snow cone. He hangs on, as athletic as he is. Our Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frostproof Coors Light. Michael Stutz warming up out on the mound. As we said, he'll get as much time as he needs to get through today's ball game, or to get through this warm-up session, because he hadn't picked up the ball because Pettibone had done such a great job. Pettibone did not allow any extra base hits today. He allowed 5 hits overall and 1 run. It was back in the 3rd.
It's one of the better games.
Oh, it was a great game.
One of the better games he's pitched, Tom, because, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the telecast today that he started out well and then he struggled, especially that game in Denver where a lot of people struggle, especially the first time you go there and try and get the ball down, because it's hard to get the ball down in that park, and then they hit it in the air and it leaves or goes into the alleys. And Jonathan was really good here today, so fingers crossed that just a cramp or something like that, and unfortunately does it while he's hitting.
Yeah, you figured that something had to be up with the way he was just kind of sauntering down the first base line.
He's the son of a major league player,
yeah.
Plus he's been here long enough to know. We've had pitchers before do that where they don't run it out, and it only happens once, and the fans tell them, we want you to run the ball out and just go through the bag. Don't care how fast you go, just go through the bag.
Remember Roy Oswalt used to do that when he pitched for the Phillies.
Yeah.
So as Stutz warms up, I'll give you a quick recap of the way that things have gone today. The Phillies got 2 runs in the first on a base hit by Ryan Howard, who has 4 RBIs today, including 2 solo home runs. Phillies now have 52 solo home runs this season. They have 3 this afternoon, the other one coming off the bat of Michael Young. Michael has 2 hits in 3 at-bats and scored a couple of runs. Here's Ryan Howard's day. Will started early for him.
Yeah, Ryan Howard's had a good day. Runners at second and third after the pass. Ball hits that off the end of the bat a little bit into center field. A 2-run score early, easily, and the Phillies have a 2-0 lead. And then in the 4th inning, he shoots this one to left center field, and it goes into the 2nd or 3rd row. And then in the 5th inning, he really turns on one. Looking at it up in the zone, maybe a cutter or fastball. That was deep into the seats in right center field. So Ryan Howard in this homestand right now in 5 games is hitting .529, 3 home runs and 7 runs batted in.
That's pretty good, and hopefully he's continuing to feel good too with that bum knee. All right, so Stutz is ready. John Buck will stand in. Buck is 0 for 1 with a walk today. In fact, that's the only walk that Pettibone allowed.
Well, Pettibone was showing no signs of not pitching 7 or 8 innings today the way he was going with this lead.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good slider from Stutz.
6-run lead with 9 outs at home. Your bullpen has to do it for you. We talked about that as one of the keys of the game today. These guys have to start picking each other up. They're young, and they're going to get their experience in the major leagues. What Charlie really needs out of them, a couple of them, is to be able to go consecutive games.
Check swing. Did he go? No, this is Adrian Johnson, and it's 2-2. The consecutive games and even consecutive innings too when needed.
Yeah, sometimes right. Like Stutz did the other night. Really helped out in the game.
Ground ball toward the hole, cut off by Young, who sprawls, pops to his feet, throws wide of first.
Yeah, he hurt it a little bit. He didn't have to with Buck running, and he knows that now. Makes a really heck of a play right there, and then rushes it. See what Michael does. He goes to his left. That thing's by him. Now he pops up. He has a lot of time to throw that thing to the bag. It's not like that's a fast runner. And that was just a little bit of a lack of concentration there on the throw.
Yeah, so they do give him an error. Sometimes when scorers are scoring that, it's 2 separate plays. The first play was wonderful, but he still had time to make the throw over to first, so that was wide of the bag.
And a good scorer, and there are a lot of them, especially the people that do it here, take into account who the runner was. Now, if that's a really fast runner going down the line, you make that play and you throw wide, you may even give him a hit. But when it's a slow runner, it's got to be an error.
Strike, and it's 1-1. Today's scorer is Jay Dunn. Mike Marconi does a lot of the scoring, and Joe Bellina, who hasn't been here this year. Joe's mom, Virginia, passed away last weekend. I want to send best wishes out to Joe and his family.
Yeah. Jay's a longtime baseball writer in this area. Does a good job of the scoring. So does Mike, of course.
1-1 pitch. Swing and miss. 1-2.
You go to other places and they don't factor all that stuff in sometimes.
outside, 3-2.
Michael came in last night, threw 5 straight balls before getting straightened out a little bit. He had benefit of that call at second base where Adrian Johnson got a little confused. But this is one of those cases of a guy going back to back, which is so important, pitching consecutive games and still having enough to get people out. They look like they're going to be able to stay away from their bullpen until a little deeper into the game today, but whatever happened with Jonathan Pettibone blew that up.
Inside, ball 4, so that'll put 2 on. The error by Young, the walk by Stutz. These lucky fans are today's Citizens 7. They'll receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Here's Omar Quintanilla. Josh Satin is out on deck for the Mets. He's going to play first base tomorrow for them. But he's one of the bats off the bench.
You mentioned they have all right-handed bats now off the bench without Duda available.
Quintanilla is 1 for 2. And he hits it foul up to the left and out of play. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Marlins and the Giants are tied at 1. Gregor Blanco has an RBI, 2 hits overall for San Francisco. Rockies have defeated the Nationals, and the Brewers are leading the Braves in the 7th. Through that fastball, and it's 1-2. Bucks over at second base. Neuenhuis at first. Phillies are up by 6. And a line drive base hit to right field. That'll get a run home. Bucks going to score. And with the runners on first and third, it's a 7-2 ball game.
Error walk. Here they come.
DeFreitas is the right-hander. Diekman is the left-hander. J.C. Ramirez is in the background, stretching his arms out. So that's an unearned run that is scored for the Mets. Here's Josh Satin. Satin 3 for 8 in his 6 games so far in the big leagues this year. Phillies will play a double play depth. They'll exchange the double play for another run.
Gladly. Something to stop this momentum the Mets are starting to build up. Phillies are getting bullpen activity again. Talked about. Got to get somebody up. Really wild with his fastball.
20 pitches so far, 10 and 10. Phillies have 7 relievers on their roster who began the year down at Lehigh Valley. Rich Doobie knows that every year the bullpen will go through changes from time to time. It's been a lot. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. The only 2 pitchers on the Phillies roster that were here from the beginning are Bastardo and Papelbon.
Sam just missed a hanging slider there.
Fastball low, 3-2.
3-2 counts in this inning.
Eric Young's on deck.
I think they'd run here. 5 runs down, strikeout double play, it short circuit the inning. We'll see.
Quintanilla doesn't go. Pitch is fouled away. Even if he gets him out, this may be his last batter.
Yeah, that's a lot of pitches with that, and not having recorded an out to this point. Freitas, he was in the game last night. Diekman was in the game last night. You know their game plans are trying to have Bastardo in the 8th and Papelbon in the 9th. And now they got to try and get to them.
3-2 pitch to set. Inside, ball 4. That'll load up the bases. Wow. And here comes Charlie Manuel. That's going to be it for Michael Stutz. Stutz came on for Pettibone, who started the inning by warming up, and then Rich Doobie and Scott Sheridan, Phillies athletic trainer, came out to check him out. It looked like he was bothered by something in his lower back, and then Stutz allowed a run after the inning began with an error. Walked a couple, allowed a base hit. He's out. We've got a pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park. Bases loaded. Phillies up by 5. Allowed an unearned run, and now the bases are loaded. He'll give way to Justin DeFreitas. There was a point during the while sitting in the dugout where he's talking to Rich Doobie where he started pointing to his shoulder. He's trying to stretch out his arm right there. You hope he's okay. Right there, he starts pointing to his shoulder. toward the front of it. Rich Doobie just turned and looked at Sean Ficasny, who's one of the Phillies athletic trainers, as Stutz continued the conversation. Now he'll give way to Justin DeFreitas. DeFreitas into a tough spot, although the Phils have a 5-run lead, so he's hunting for some outs here. 2-0, an ERA of 2.70.
Right, somebody has to come in and put the fire out now before the Mets really get excited about this, because they're in a little hot streak right now where they think they can beat you. Phillies are in one of those things again where you look over your shoulder and say, well, what's going to go wrong? And that's baseball.
Eric Young is 1 for 3. He had a bunt single back in the third. Michael Young's in the third. First pitch is up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Neuenhuis at third. Quintanilla is at second. Satton's at first. And a fly ball to left field. Dominic Brown going back. It's over his head and a 1-hop off the wall. 2 runs will score. Satton stops at third. A 2-run double. And just like that, the lead is down to 3. And still nobody out here in the 7th.
Playing him shallow in left field the way you should, because you don't expect him to hit it over your head, especially batting left-handed, and he does.
So Eric Young is now 2 for 4. Here's Valdespin. Still nobody out. The infield is back, with the exception of Young at third.
Yeah, you're still willing to give up a run for an out. It's a elusive out. 5 batters into the inning. They haven't been able to retire anybody. And all started with an error. A couple of walks mixed in.
Ground ball to shortstop. Run will score. Valdespin thrown out. He'll get an RBI, his second one on a ground out. It's a 7-5 game.
That was a really good out, not only because they got an out, but because he hit it to the left side, and the runner Young at second doesn't advance to third, where a fly ball would make it a 1-run game.
Well, that'll bring David Wright to the plate. He's 1 for 3.
Now you have to watch EY Jr. there at second base, because he might think about stealing third if you forget about him. Chase Utley's kind of coasting in behind him a little bit. He's a cover guy.
Swing and a miss. Good slider. It's 0-1. Wright has an infield hit today. A ball to shortstop cut off by Rollins.
A good sequence to that point. They go breaking ball down, check swing, and a high fastball out of the zone that he chases. They've given him 2 looks. Neither one were strikes.
According to the gun. 2 outs here in the 7th.
That was a really good 2-strike fastball, too, because it's not right down the middle. He tried to go out, well, it did at the end. It kind of ran back a little bit. But still, David Ray was defensive there because of the first 2 pitches.
Well, now he needs to get one more out. Marlon Byrd. Byrd is 1 for 3. Singled his first time up. Hit one sharply his last time that Ben Revere caught in center. Crossed him up.
Sure did. And Carlos is saying, going back, you know what you did. We know what we want here. See a guy catch a ball like that normally means you're crossed up, especially with a runner at second base.
Counting last night, 6 come from behind wins in Philadelphia, tied for the most on the road by one team over another. That's over the last 2 years.
How about that? Look at the Orioles at Fenway.
Red Sox were so bad last year.
Yeah.
And the Orioles were so good.
Well, the Mets came in last year and did it in 3 straight games of the Phillies. Came from behind and beat them. So that's in that total. That was the one where Valdespin hit the 3-run home run on Papelbon to win one of them.
Two and 1 to Marlon Byrd. 8th man to bat in this inning. The Mets have scored 4. In the dirt, Ruiz fortunate that the ball hit Byrd, because if it didn't, it may have shot to his left, and who knows, Eric Young could have gone to third. Not that it is a huge deal with 2 outs.
Yeah, it's a breaking ball, and talk about it all the time. The catchers are taught breaking ball, you call it, anticipate it going the opposite direction. If it hits the ground, textbook right there. Carlos Ruiz, it hit the ground, and he was ready for it to come back towards him. You have Diekman up right now and Murphy on deck. Well, this could be it for DeFreitas if he doesn't get Marlon Byrd out. And you use 3 guys in this inning.
Check swing. Did he go? No, this is Adrian Johnson. And that'll put runners on first and second.
Have to come get him, probably.
Charlie Manuel's already left his seat, and DeFreitas realizes that his manager's coming out. He's going to be taken out of this ball game. Now they're going to have to bring in Jake Diekman, a left-hander, to face the lefty Daniel Murphy. So 2 runners on with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. The Mets have scored 4 runs. 3 earned, 1 unearned. 4 runs charged to the line of Michael Stutes. We've got another pitching change, our 3rd of the inning. Here at the top of the 7th inning. Reminder, the Phillies Baseball Academy is open for boys and girls aged 6 to 14. 13 different locations, many weeks to choose from. Call 610-520-3400 or go to philliescamps.com for more information. Some of those campers were here the other day as they were getting a chance to meet Dominic Brown. Jake Diekman is the third pitcher used today for the Phillies. Michael Stutz started the inning after Jonathan Pettibone left with an apparent injury, then DeFreitas. And now it's Diekman on to face the lefty Daniel Murphy. The Mets have batted around in this inning. Murphy, a .271 hitter. He has a base hit today. Hit it the opposite way. First pitch is inside, 1-0.
Game was nice and smooth and rolling along, and at this point this half inning has gone 26 minutes with all the pitching changes that it had to make plus the injury. 40 total pitches to this point.
Outside corner, and it's 1-1.
Charlie would say unreal, and that's what Murphy just thought of that pitch.
Really?
There's no way that was a strike.
Lower back tightness is what Jay McLaughlin, our in-house public address announcer, just told us for Jonathan Pettibone. 1 ball, 1 strike to Murphy. Swing and a miss. Good breaking pitch from Diekman.
He came in with good stuff last night. The first 2 hitters, then he gave up 2 hits, and then got an infield out, a fielder's choice to get out of the inning. Did not face Murphy last night. Do not have to throw him a strike right now, the way he just chased that slider. That was too good a pitch with 2 strikes.
The right hitter John Buck on deck. Nobody else warming up in the bullpen for the Phillies. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Murphy.
No, they're getting to the point now. Somebody's got to get the job done and get this inning over.
And a called strike 3. 97 on the outside corner. And Diekman finally puts an end to the top of the 7th inning. The Mets scored 4 runs. 3 of those runs are earned. The other one is unearned. Time to stretch and breathe a sigh of relief as Murphy may be thrown out of this ball game as we go to the bottom of the 7th. question answer. All right, Wheels, here we go. Here are the questions. Who are the 2 Mets in franchise history that played all 162 games in one season?
Yeah, honestly, I got out of whack with this, missing it for one night, and I was over socializing with former skipper Fregosi, and I forgot all about thinking of it. All right, is somebody here today?
No, neither one are here. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen either one of them.
How about an era?
One was the 70s. The other one was the 90s, 2000s. Neither one began their careers with the New York Mets.
Oh, man.
That doesn't really help at all.
I don't know this.
All right.
I haven't had. I'm not making excuses, but I didn't think about it.
They both had very distinct
Nicknames.
No.
Oh.
The way they approached their at bats, whether it be their stance or what they wore, they were very distinct.
Keith Hernandez.
No, that's not. That's really not a great hit. I thought maybe you would get it. Felix Millan and John Olerud.
Oh, come on.
Millan used to choke up all the way.
Yeah, and Olerud with the helmet.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't really help you at all, did I?
So that's a tough question. I don't know that if I thought about that for the last hour and a half, I could have gotten it.
Josh Edgin is the new pitcher for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Jimmy Rollins leads it off.
But this is for the fans, and hopefully the fans got it. Kind of enjoyed Sarge having no clue last night. Seeing him sit there and writhe like I do. And then Murph gave him an audible buzzer.
Did he?
Yeah, double buzzer.
Murph, did you give Sarge a buzzer? What's up with that?
I did indeed. I've been practicing for weeks.
It was good. I thought, what was that? That was it. It was nice. Kind of like a clown car.
2-1 to Rollins. Rollins is 0 for 3. And he lines it down the left field line. Foul.
Sedgin's done a really good job for them lately. Phillies really need to stop this stuff right now, the momentum, and get after him again.
Yeah, because they finally have scored more than 3 runs again. And the record is very good when they score 3 runs or more.
They were coasting
4 runs.
Right, they were coasting in this game today until Pettibone went down. Of course, it'll be Bastardo in the 8th and Papelbon in the 9th. That's what they were trying to get to. Just took a while.
Rollins lines one to center. There's a base hit. So maybe the train begins again. Chase Utley is due up for the Phils, and it's time for the Major League Notebook with Murph. Murph, take it away.
All right, thanks very much, T-Mac. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercy College. And Yankee fans got a glimpse of their captain today. Derek Jeter was at the stadium today taking batting practice and some ground balls. The shortstop has been rehabbing his ankle down in Tampa, away from the team. But he said he got tired of the day-to-day down there. He just wanted to get a chance to get back to New York, so he did that, but still no timetable for his return. And when will Bryce Harper return to the Washington Nationals, guys? Well, that depends on who you ask. His manager, Davey Johnson, said he expects Bryce to begin his rehab assignment on Tuesday of this upcoming week. But when you ask Bryce Harper, he said, well, I don't think I'm going to be ready on Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday I'll be ready. So reporters went back to Davey Johnson, and Davey Johnson said, well, let's be clear. It's not up to Bryce. It's up to me when he starts that rehab assignment. So I'm putting my money on Tuesday, guys. Take a look at that.
Yeah. That's funny, though. What would an extra day do? 1 or 2 days. 0-1 the count. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
There's always been certain guys in the game that knew exactly when they were going to be ready to do something, more than the medical staff. I'm sure Davey, being from the old school, when they told you what to do and you did it,
exactly,
just decided, I'll handle this.
Didn't think he was one of those guys that would be that way.
Oh, yeah.
No. Not
Davey,
you mean
Harper?
Harper.
Yeah, well, maybe he just had a brain cramp.
Utley swing and a miss. So Utley struck out 3 times today. And there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Michael Young is coming to the plate. Young is 2 for 3. Homered his last time.
Right now, left-handed hitters career 205 off edge and 286 this year. You mentioned since he's been back, they say he's been pitching very well. Their bullpen overall has been spectacular for the last few games. So had their starters up until today. Michael Young has a home run here this afternoon with a 4 hit by the Phillies. That one went to left center field, a couple rows deep. Ball really carrying here today. Of course, it's warm day game.
Phillies need to get 6 more outs to win game 2.
There are times that doesn't sound like much, and there are times when it does. Last 6 games, the Mets bullpen has worked 21 innings and given up 1 earned run, 0.43 earned run average. That's how good they've been.
They've got the hard throwing right-hander David Ardsma throwing in the bullpen right now. He has been a well-traveled man this year. In the dirt, and Buck keeps it in the area. There's Bastardo.
Pretty good running count right now if you want to try it. This is not a run on the count situation. This would be a true hit and run if they do it. Where the batter, the difference is the batter has to protect the runner. Whereas when you're running on the count, you're up to your own, you're up to your whatever you can do.
Rollins doesn't go. The pitch is in the dirt, and it's 3-1. Howard, who's had a great day offensively, is on deck. Broke his bat, a ground ball to third. David Wright to second for 1, and they roll the double play ball. 5-4-3 around the horn. Side is retired. We've completed our first 7 here in Philadelphia. We go to the 8th inning. The Phillies lead the Mets by 2. It's not worth building. Buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And buy Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Well, the Fanatic doing a little dugout dancing with 2 of his favorite friends, as Antonio Bastardo will take over here in the 8th inning. Phillies had a 7-1 lead. It's at 7-5 right now as we begin the 8th. John Buck will lead it off for the Mets. It'll be Buck NYN is the next scheduled hitter, although they've got a pinch hitter out in the on-deck circle. Yeah, let's see what Antonio Bastardo can do to make sure the Phils get to the bottom of the 8th, leading it by 2.
Looks like Lagares, who played center field here last night, had a couple of big hits. Biggest hit was the one that he turned out winning the game with a double to left center that scored Duda all the way from first.
That's the first time this year that Duda has scored from first, and then you mentioned that he's gone back to New York to get his side checked out.
Yeah, they have one less player on their bench today. Even though Duda's on their card, he's not available.
John Buck reached on the error by Michael Young his last time. So he's 0 for 2 with a walk. Swing and a miss, and a slider. It's 0-1. Now let's see the line score. Phillies comfortably on top going to the 7th.
And then that inning just unraveled, starting with Jonathan Pettibone not being able to start the inning with a sore back.
At the knees, and it's 1-2 to Buck.
Struggling a little bit with Welke right now. Murphy almost got run last inning. Buck's been back there with him all afternoon thinking, well, I don't know if that was a strike.
Got him. Buck just broke his bat when he slammed it down.
He did.
And what a way. And now he slams it down again.
Yeah, the umpires aren't going to be happy about this if he thinks that's towards him. Which it really is, but it isn't. You see what Buck strikes out here, but what he's angry about is the pitch before that put him in the hole. And then he slams it once. He broke it. Figure, well, maybe I'll just break it in half now.
First pitch is on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Lagares pitch hitting for NYN hitting .234. He does have a home run and 5 runs batted in.
Good slider today.
Yeah, he does.
This guy's showing no signs of making contact with it. You think you'd throw him another one?
And the 0-2 pitch. Got him.
You see that swing, those first couple of swings, you just keep throwing it, and if he can somehow beat you, he hadn't shown he could do it. Good job by Ruiz and Bastardo. Just keep throwing it. Here comes another one. You see Chu say, give it to me down, and we got this guy, and they do.
Omar Quintanilla now the hitter. He's 2 for 3 today. Andrew Brown has come out of the on-deck circle. Ground ball to first. Oh, it hit the bag. That's a fair ball, of course. And it rolls into shallow right field. Utley tracks it down. 3-hit day for Quintanilla.
If Howard was going to be able to make the play, he dove for it, but he never had a chance because Tom Souza hits it back. Watch Howard here. He has it lined up. Brian to his left. He's going to dive, try and catch it, but never has the opportunity because it hits a bag, goes straight in the air.
Scott Rice is in the bullpen. He's going to come on after Edgin is pinch hit for by Andrew Brown. Brown, .235 hitter in the big leagues with a couple home runs and 3 RBIs. He was tearing it up down in AAA at Las Vegas. 41 RBIs in the first 40 games at AAA.
Yeah, he said he's hit a couple bombs up here. He's sitting there watching a pinch hitter come out. in Lagares, and he sees slider after slider, maybe thinking that's what they're going to do to me because I'm right-handed too, and they go fastball to him.
Going to the count. And the pitch from the startup. Ground ball, foul.
And he goes breaking ball.
One ball out of the strike zone in this inning. 10 strikes.
They're going to chase him a few too because he's made quality pitches.
Coming to an end of a beautiful day here in South Philadelphia. The 0-2 pitch coming to Brown. Lays off 1-2.
Yeah, the shadows aren't real bad this afternoon because a milky cloud layer up there and it's hazy a little bit, and that's really helped the hitters. This time of the day right now it could be really bright out there. Reeves did a really good job framing that on the inside part of the plate, or not. He pulled it back a little bit. It was quick though.
Sure was. Thought it still went over a little bit of the plate.
Sure looked like it had a shot.
It's 2-2 to Andrew Brown with a runner at first and the pitch. Fly ball down the right field line. Mayberry has room. He's under it, and the top of the 8th inning comes to a close. Good job by Bastardo. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. He picked up a couple strikeouts along the way, which means we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still a 2-run lead for the Phils as they're hunting for some more. Against the Chicago White Sox. Friday's Xfinity fireworks show. It's the second one that they'll have, the Phillies will have here at the ballpark. Sunday, all fans 15 and over receive the Pennsylvania Auto Theft Prevention Authority travel mug. It's the final set of interleague games here at Citizens Bank Park. Order your tickets now at Phillies.com. Lagares comes on to play center field after pinch hitting. And Eric Young Jr. moves over to left field from center field. And the new pitcher is lefty Scott Rice. 40 games for Rice.
Big tall guy was in the game last night. Seeing the numbers on him, and he struck out both Ryan Howard and Dominic Brown, he has the same group coming up, except Delman Young was third. That'll be Mayberry, and then he faced Revere and got him on a 3-1 hookup. So 3 out of 4 left-handed hitters here, and that's why Terry Collins is going to use his second left-hander.
Howard 3 for 3 today. His average up to 283.
That's exactly what he did to him last night as Papelbon gets ready for the ninth. Is throw those frisbees up there, those breaking balls, and he really struggled with them. He was turning around all of a sudden. Nice couple in.
Yeah, see, I thought that was a pretty good pitch.
Nice strike, fastball. Now guess what he's going to
In the dirt, a breaking ball. It's 1-2. That was a hanger right there. It remains 1-2.
Yeah, he didn't throw them last night. Ryan had one to hit that time.
41st appearance for Rice. That's tops in the majors. Outside, 2-2.
From last night, he has a little funky leg kick that he uses too. Probably try to get their attention a little bit before he comes with a baseball.
Ground ball right side. Valdez speed in shallow right. He throws Howard out, 1 out. Tomorrow these two teams will wrap up this series. John Lannon on the mound for the Phillies and Matt Harvey on the hill for the Mets. It's a 1:35 first pitch. Get some tickets if you want by going to Phillies.com. Today a crowd of 45,725, the largest crowd of the season here at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies are expecting a good crowd again tomorrow, but there are seats still available. Crowd is 1 for 3. And he lines one to left center field, a base hit. Dominic Brown is going to head to second. He'll get there easily. He puts the brakes on. It's his second double of the day. He has 12 on the season. Well, he really does do a good job against left-handed pitching.
He hung in there well too, and like last night he did. He really struggled last night against this guy, Tom. But now he's seen him once, and he got a breaking ball that time. As you said, he stayed in there really well. Look how he stayed closed, and then hit it hard the other way. He gets himself into scoring position with 1 out. Here comes Terry Collins to go for a right-hander.
He had Ardsma warming up, so with John Mayberry due up, they'll go to the right-handed reliever. And so Rice is credited with 1/3 and 1 hit so far, and his responsibility is the guy at second base. So another pitching change as Ardsma is going to come in for the Mets. Phillies lead it by 2, looking for a little insurance here in the bottom of the 8th. details this afternoon's matchup with the Mets on Pure Auto Insurance. Presents Phillies Postgame Live. Be a lot to break down. Jonathan Pettibone went 6 innings, pitched very well today for the Phillies, and then was lifted after he warmed up in the 7th, and lifted with a stiff back. That was the report we received. Phillies had a 7-1 lead at that point. Then the Mets scored 4 in the 7th. Now, here in the bottom of the 8th with a runner at second, David Ardsman will take over to face John Mayberry. Ardsman began the year in the Yankees organization. Signed a contract prior to the 2013 season, or 2012 season. Pitched last year for the Yankees. He's bounced around to a couple of different teams this year. Now the Mets have him in their organization. And Terry Collins going home here to face Mayberry.
Fastball slider split 90-93 with his fastball.
Ardsman opened the season with the Marlins AAA affiliate. Pitched well for them in 10 games, but then was released on the 15th of May. Now the pitch to Mayberry outside, 1-0.
Another runner really looked good here.
Backhanded stab by John Buck. Three balls, no strikes to Mayberry, the runner at second. And ball 4. Mayberry was taking all the way, and that'll put runners on first and second for Ben Revere. No lefty warming up for the Mets, so Revere will face the right-hander. Revere is the first Philly to reach 20 stolen bases at this point in the season since Victorino had 22 in 2007.
Yeah, he's really picking it up lately, and looks like the player, the offensive player that they hoped he could be. And he's down the 7-hole right now. He can really help the club batting 7th with his speed down there, as he did earlier when he got the hit, then stole second, stole third, and then the throw into left field. He scored the run. Veteran catcher Buck wants to come out and try and settle him down a little bit.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard, its final score. The Brewers have defeated the Braves 2-0. How about as good an offensive team as they are? The Braves are 24 straight innings without a run.
They're a strange team. They really are. They get hot and they hit homers and just
why they're
crush teams.
There are a lot of folks that think that they are catchable in the East for both the Nationals and even the Phillies if they can get things rolling. They are streaky.
Well, they strike out so much.
1-0 pitch to Revere. There's a strike.
That's one of the things. They get into those things where they have dead innings one after another because they don't have any base runners.
A win today, the Phillies would be 3 games under 500 and 6.5 games out in the division. Need 3 more outs. That ball is way outside. It's 2-1.
Good job. Stay off it. Nothing you can do with that pitch. Then Revere wants to really lock into something here. Small strike zone that he is. This guy's all over the place. Walk here, load him up for Ruiz with 1 out.
On the hands, out toward right. Marlon Byrd comes in to make the catch.
That's the point I was just trying to make. That's probably not a strike. And he gets jammed and makes an out there. And maybe could have been ball 4, but certainly not a hittable pitch to drive. You really need to hit on the count. And here it comes running in on, not even a strike. Looked like it cut a little bit on his hands. That would have been ball 4.
Well, he was trying to use some body language, some English to get that ball to drop in for a hit. Well, now it's up to Ruiz with Brown at second base. Phillies lead it by 2. Franzen's come out of the on-deck circle. Carlos is 0 for 3, 1 for 7 in the series. Ground ball toward the middle. Over to his left is Quintanilla. What a room service hop he got on that one. And the side is retired. A fielder's choice for Ruiz. So that means we go to the 9th inning. The Phillies up by 2. They'll turn things over to Papelbon to try to close things out. Going to the top of the 9th inning. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1, 2, 3, and they'd love for Papelbon to do that right here in the 9th inning. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. So Papelbon with 2 blown saves. They've happened on this homestand. He's 14 of 16, but he has a 2-run lead to work with here in the top of the 9th inning. 26 strikeouts and 27 2/3. He's got the top of the order. He's got Young, Valdespin, and Wright, who he will face for the New York Mets. So he's trying to even up the series and then go for the series victory tomorrow against Matt Harvey and the Mets. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, but you think about the 2 losses they've had on this homestand. The Nationals game, Game 3. Which in retrospect looked like it was could have been a victory for the Phillies. And even yesterday, a 3-0 against the Mets, and they wound up losing that one 4-3.
A lot of 1-run losses this year.
So now Papelbon will work for the first time since that blown save against the Nationals.
Phillies are 8 and 13 in 1-run games this year.
Yeah.
3 and 9 on the road, 5 and 4 here. 9 and 6 in 2-run decision. So make it 10-6.
Eric Young doubled his last time. He's 2 for 4. Papelbon delivers a strike. It's 0-1. Ground ball to shortstop. To his left, Rollins behind the bag, throws on the run, just gets Eric Young. One away.
Good play by Jimmy Rollins. He did all he could on that flip, and Young busted it down the line. Ooh, is that close?
Sure was.
It's one of those ones where it's so good to get that out. As you see right here, look at that little flip. He gets nothing in his body really to throw that except that unbelievable ability he has to flip it with that velocity.
It's really close.
And bangs him with it. You know, because all heck can break out if he gets on, if he leads off with the inning. Because then the Mets are thinking, here we go.
It's kind of like the other night when the Nationals were down 2-1. They got Span on.
Right.
Now Valdespin, who has homered against Papelbon.
Yeah, remember that one.
Takes inside and low, 1-0.
3-run job to win the game. That's his only hit off him. 2 strikeouts and 5 at bats.
Well, he's got 2 hits against him and 2 home runs. That's going to be a long one. To make it a 1-run game, it's a 7-6 ball game here in the top of the 9th. That's amazing.
Really. It's amazing this game is 7-6 when you think about it. Now you got to deal with Wright. Looked like a fastball. Oh my. Right on the inside part of the plate where he just dropped the head on. He beat him with a split last year for the 3-run homer. There it is. That is barreled. About as good as you can hit one. And lefties do love it down and in like that.
David Wright is 1 for 4 today. He reached on an infield hit back in the 6th. Struck out in the 7th. Also struck out back in the 1st. Out of play, 0-1. The outfielders are way back with Wright up. Dominic Brown is just a step from the warning track and left. There's Mayberry a few steps in from the track and right.
And they put Young on the line with a right-handed hitter.
Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike to Wright.
How big was he getting Young out now?
It's huge.
Yep, that's that don't hit it over my head late inning defense with a 1-run lead.
Over to third. Michael Young was playing that way and he can't handle it. Wright is safe at first.
Well, that's where they had him on the line, so to prevent an extra base hit. And
I would think that's got to be another error.
Yeah, the ball's hit hard down near the line, but he gloves this. See, he's on the line, and that was the idea. Yeah, got to make that play. Doesn't have to go that far because of where they have him. He goes to backhand it, and it hits the glove. That's a fair ball. And David Wright is a sneaky base stealer, too. We only got to be careful now he doesn't steal and get in the scoring position.
Here's Marlon Byrd. He does not have a hit in his career against Papelbon. The Mets have Bobby Parnell and Carlos Torres throwing in their bullpen. Bird hits it to right field. Mayberry over toward the line. He should get there, and he does. 2 outs.
Big out there without David Wright advancing, too. Wright's 12 out of 13 in stolen base attempts.
Here's Murphy now, 1 for 4 in the game. I think Jimmy Rollins just reminded Papelbon to keep an eye on David Wright over at first. Not that he needs that reminder.
Yeah, because he'll run. And then Murphy hurt Papelbon in the game last year, and he had a ball right off his leg.
At the knees, it's 0-1. That was a split.
And Rocky and Murphy had a little back and forth last time, so he may be one of them swinging the bat right now.
There goes Wright, went and stopped, and the ball is fouled at the plate. It's 0-2. He started to go.
Sure did. I really thought he'd try and run. Seen him steal bases before. There he goes, and then decided no. Papelbon throwing off speed here so far to Murphy.
A little more than 45,000 on hand this afternoon. Game 2 of this series between the Phillies and the Mets. Phillies had a 7-1 lead. It's been whittled down to 1. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Daniel Murphy. Right goes the pitch. Ground ball through the hole at shortstop into left center field. Wright's on his way to third. They're waving him home. Revere bobbles, and the game is tied. Oh, my.
See that coming. That's awful.
The third blown save of the series, or I should say of the homestand for Papelbon.
That's just... Figured David Wright was going to run. He did, and it draws Rollins to the bag, and the ball goes through. They really needed Brown to field that thing.
Absolutely.
Because he has the better arm, and they would have stopped him at third with Tuffle. Here we go. See Rollins, that's an out. Game's over. But Brown has to take charge there, or Revere has to... I don't know. He was going to wave him anyway, I think Tuffle was, and test his arm.
Well, I think if Brown had gotten to it, now Brown would have had a backhand.
No, I mean Revere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
These games are just... You got to see him to believe it.
John Buck is the hitter. It's a 7-7 game.
Running 0-2 there. No doubt that he was going to run. And Jimmy Rollins comes and covers the bag, and doesn't the ball go right where he was standing, which would have ended the game right there.
Goes down as an RBI single for Murphy. There goes Murphy. Well, they've deaconed the heck out of me here. Murphy broke and then stopped. He was going too. 0-1.
How'd they score that? They give him an RBI?
RBI single.
All the way around.
Yeah. I think because Wright didn't stop.
Yeah.
Popped up. Ruiz will give it a look, but it's back into the Diamond Club seats. And it's 0-2. Papelbon had been perfect on the year. But now on this homestand, he's blown 3. Although this run, the second run that is an unearned run because of the error by Michael Young. There goes Murphy. Pitch is taken outside. The throw to second, not in time. Second stolen base of the day for Murphy. One ball, 2 strikes.
It's a really good job. Give Tim Tuffle some credit there too. He was very alert on that play. You take chances like that when you're on the road in that situation, and he was watching it really closely to see what's happening in that outfield, and he had him coming all the way. Had a good base runner who gave him a chance to score him, and they did.
Torres is number 52. Parnell is number 39. Parnell would come on to close if they took the lead. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball missed inside, 2-2. Ground ball to third. Michael Young has it. His throw across the diamond in time. Side is retired, but the Mets scored 2 more here in the top of the 9th inning to tie this ball game up. David Wright scored all the way from first on a base hit from that guy. So now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies with a chance to win it. And not always in the positive way. The Phillies led it 7-1 going to the top of the 7th inning against a New York Mets team that had the worst team batting average in the National League. Well, they've scored 4 in the 7th and then 2 more in the 9th. 1 earned, 1 unearned. Jonathan Papelbon with his 3rd blown save in this homestand. He allowed the home run to Valdez-Speed, and then allowed the base hit from Murphy that scored right all the way from first. But it's still tied as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Carlos Torres, with very little experience here in 2013, in 3 games so far. He's a strikeout pitcher with 6 Ks in 5 1/3. And he's on to face a pinch hitter, Kevin Franzen, and then the top of the Phillies order. Well, it's just time to win it now in a dramatic way for the Phillies in what should have been a not so dramatic ball game.
Phillies really down to pitching problems too. Everything they could to try and win this game after they lose Pettibone to the injury. Now they're down to Joe Savory, who's warming up out there. You see, he's your long guy, and the rookie they just brought up, J.C. Ramirez.
Franzen, a .270 hitter with 2 home runs. He takes outside and low, 1-0.
So as you said, they need to expedite the win right now. Or I said, with that word.
Wheels, you forgot to close the bullpen door.
Yeah.
By the way, we've talked about this. You're going to let the air out.
David Wright guarding the line and pretty deep in the outfield.
In the air to left field. Going back on it. It is gone! Kevin Franzen sends everybody home with an 8-7 victory here in the bottom of the 9th inning. How about that? And that baby was way out. Way out of the ballpark.
Got a 1-0 fastball, looked like it. talk about crushing. Whew, man.
Little hug from Jonathan Papelbon.
As we said, they needed to expedite this win with their situation they were in. And he got it over with real quick.
And as we said earlier this year, good for Kevin Franzen. He's our Chevrolet player of the game in a game in which the Phillies were leading at 7-1. He had a towering shot off the front of the second deck in left field.
Oh, that was a long one.
It sure was. The Phillies win it 8-7. A little celebration from his teammates, and he crushed it.
That fastball
and he
ran.
knew it, too.
Oh, gotta know. That baby ran right into his wheelhouse, and he just crushed that thing way out to left. Here it is. Good stride. Stayed back, loaded up, and got a fastball middle in 1-0. No doubt. The only doubt on that one was how far it was going to go.
So Kevin Franzen's walk-off home run makes this crowd of 45,000 plus feel a little bit better. And he's down on the field with Murph. Murph, take it away.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling just a little bit better. I know this guy is. Sometimes you only get one chance in a game. You certainly make the most of yours, Kev.
Well, I try to. Luckily, I've seen him since high school. You know, we're from both from the Bay, and I faced him in the playoffs. You know, coming, we were 17 years old, so had good history with him, and he's a good pitcher. And I got fortunate right there because obviously you guys know I'm not.
I would have warmed. There we go. Let's finish it up. Yeah, there we go. I thought about warning you on that one, but you and I have a history, so.
What are you talking about?
All right, listen to me. Earlier, Charlie Magner earlier this week said that you're his best hitter off the bench. You're not going to get as much of a chance to start with Chase Utley back, but just how important are those words and doing that kind of thing right there?
I guess, pinch hitting is just, it's for the team. You're trying to do something for the team. I'm not trying to hit a home run right there because that's not me. I'm trying to get on base. Jimmy's behind me. Chase right after that. My goal is to get on base, and fortunately, we got the win on that. Wow, yeah.
Before I let you go, Pap was out there giving you the hug. I mean, obviously, it's been a tough week for him, but you guys have been able to pick him up twice, and he's been so good this season.
He's been so unbelievable. That's all you have to say.
What did he have to say to you?
I can't say it, but I'll tell you right now, people around here are starting to see that about him. He's been out there every day and busting his ass. And tell you what, we're not where we are right now without him saving those ball games earlier. And, we're fortunate to have someone so great like him to be there. And I'll give him the ball in the ninth anytime, any day of the week.
And they'll probably give you the bat anytime, any day of the week. You have a nice job. Guys, we'll send it back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. It was a nice way to end what was a laugher at one point, and then not so much later on. Freddie Galvis, as quick as a cat. Can he get to him? Yes, he can. Just as Kevin Franzen got to Carlos Torres, it was all worth it. This down-and-in fastball, and he drove it deep out of the ballpark here at Citizens Bank Park to give the Phils an 8-7 victory over the New York Mets. Little celebration to take us to break.